right, let's get ready. I'm trying to get these Substacky stuff up and these Facebook people up and all this stuff. And then I'm about to go live. Let's see. Where's my Insta? What's happening? Hey, Marcia, what's happening, Paul? Sophia, what's going on? All right. Getting close. And kapow. I think that's up. And then we're up on Instagram. Excellent. Okay, now we're live on everything. Son of a what the heck a doodle. What's going on here? Even hold on, chat room. Hi everybody, welcome to the show. It's Al Sparks, Megaworldwide. Like, subscribe, give it a thumbs up. Support the show. Hello, how are you? WGN confirms that despite reports to the contrary, new Pope is a Sox fan. Is that what's being said in the chat room right there? Fantastic. We got a new Chicago Pope, which is going to be a new show from that Dick Wolf guy. It's going to be Chicago Pope, and then followed by Chicago Pyre. Also, Chicago Evangelical Ministries. I don't know. Chicago, A View from Loyola by former Chicago teenagers who may or may not have had sex in the bushes near the building, even though they didn't go to the school. Film at 11. Hopefully not. Yeah, very excited about this. I think we can tell that the new Pope is particularly good, if only by the number of people. It's upsetting, right? I think it was. Laura Loomer is just having a fit. So that should be. I almost feel like they were like, it's like the papal voting system has a time machine that looks like 2 hours ahead in the future, and then they look into the time machine and they go, if we pick this guy and there's white smoke and then we show who it is, who gets upset? And they're like, not the right people. Okay, how about this guy? Oh my God, look how upset the assholes are. Fantastic, we'll choose that guy. And then they go back, they look back in time. I think that's the thing. Doing it the Chicago way. Yes, he'll bring you bring a gun, he brings a knife. He sends one of yours to the hospital, you send one of his to the morgue. That's the Chicago way. Is the Pope Catholic? For the currently, the night is young though. And at this point, does anybody really know what time it is? We have a lot of shite to cover, kids, today by every measure. And not the least of which is Joe Biden gave a sit down with the BBC. It's a half hour. It's a long interview, but it's nice. It's I almost feel like it'll make us sad to watch it because it is a it's like, oh yeah, I remember what it was to have a caring adult in the room. Meanwhile, I shit you not. Okay, so let's start with the White House. Let's start there. Okay. obvious. I've had this theory for a long time, you know, and it's not that there's a deep state out there that's trying to undermine Trump. It's that the people around him, if they don't hate him already and just see him as a way, like a means to an end, they eventually grow to hate him just by being around him. Point of order, Mr. Chairman. I would like to submit to the evidence, if I may, without objection, evidence Exhibit A. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a picture that the White House, this is the still that the White House chose for their, it looks like a fucking wake. This this is the thumbnail for the president's ginormous, super important trade deal that he struck with a country we already have normal relationships with. This is like the Abraham Accords of trade. I've done it. I've done it. There's peace between countries that weren't currently fighting. I've done it. I've done it. I've created a trade deal between people who actually, we had a surplus of goods going to them. Like, it's so fucking stupid. But look at this asshole. That's the picture. Ladies and gentlemen, it's, you know how I occasionally will, by happenstance, by luck of the draw, I will pause a screen and we'll get a fairly funny, go see the banana video. You'll see a hilarious, still or two that just happens when you're pausing stuff or whatever. And I'm sure I look fairly ridiculous at certain pauses anyways. That's just how life is. But I wouldn't actively choose a picture that makes it look like I was sleeping during my own show as my thumbnail. Nor would anybody that works with me or around me, if I were to delegate that out and go, hey guys, what we're going to do is the thumbnail, I can't handle it, but somebody, CSL, Andrea, Carl, somebody's in charge. You guys pick a still from the stream. They really feel like sums up the energy of the show. And then I want you to use that. No words, okay? We're not trying to sell anything. We're just showing everybody just the fucking magic, okay? And then post that, that on the stream. Look at this shit. He's asleep. He's fucking asleep. He's like, it's over. It's over, kids. They know it. Look at JD Vance. Oh shit. Now again, I'm sure it was just a prolonged blink. You know what I mean? He wasn't sleeping. It was just a really long blink. But that doesn't save him from the fact that whoever works at the White House and chooses what the fuck the thumbnail is went, fuck him. You know what? Fuck him. Fuck him and his bullshit. Put a picture of this idiot where it looks like he's dozing at his own goddamn meeting. This was nothing. He promised this was going to be extraordinary. This was going to be world-changing, right? That was the lead up to this. The whisper campaign on this bullshit was like 5 days long. What we're going to announce. And I've seen bits and pieces of the announcement, but I have not watched the whole thing because I wanted to share that pain with you. Here we go. Oh, we'll skip through this. Look, they could have put that up. Would have been better.
You all set to go?
Oh, yeah.
This is
ready when you are.
Okay, we're ready. We have the Prime Minister on the phone, and we have a nice hookup. This looks like the kind of a hookup that's not going to be causing any problems in your voice.
It does. You can tell that by looking at the phone, can you? It does look like that. Does it look like that? By looking at, so you're looking at the phone, and it looks like it's going to be okay? Just clarifying. Where the fuck did this guy learn how to talk?
Through beautifully here. So I just want to...
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it is. You sound great. I just want to begin by saying that this is a very special day because it is Victory Day, World War II, May 8th. And just by happenstance, we have the Prime Minister on the phone and we...
Yeah, it's just by happenstance. You didn't plan this, even though the deal is not finished. You chose this. You tried to use V-Day to to cover for the fact that you ain't got shit. Okay, I'm not going to get ahead of myself.
Great
shit.
Allies in that, and it's very...
Yes, that's why we've never really had a trade problem with them.
Usual that the trade deal comes due, and we signed it up on the same day that we had a great victory, the greatest.
No, you didn't. It isn't signed. It isn't anything. You haven't signed anything, you goofball.
Of them all. So we are talking more and more about Victory Day because we were a big part of it, and so was.
Oh, were you? Were you, Bone Spurs? Yeah, you know what? Use we, the royal we, sure.
Okay, and it's just, I guess, I don't know what you call it. It's just incredible that that day is the same day that we signed a tremendous trade deal.
You haven't signed it yet. You haven't. They haven't signed anything. They have not. They've agreed to further discussions about basically going back to what we had before because it was fine.
Countries. So I'm going to begin by just adding that we just concluded the rare earth deal with Ukraine. That's been fully ratified and approved by their legislative branches.
The RADA.
And so we appreciate that, and I'll be speaking with the president in a little while, a little bit later. And we appreciate that, but the deal is all now signed up and ratified. And we have access to a massive amount of very, very high quality rare earth.
It is some of the finest dirt you'll ever lay your lip across. Oh, this is the delicious. And you won't find this earth everywhere. As a matter of fact, in the universe, I don't know if you know this, but earth is fairly rare. Okay.
This morning, I'm thrilled to announce that we have reached a breakthrough trade deal with the United Kingdom. Incredible country. Today is a victory day for World War II. We won the...
Oh my fucking God. You can almost hear the mallets in his head trying to like bang the words into his like cognition hole. Just like, ha-bank, get that fucking conjunction in there. I can't... What's this one? It's got 2 syllables.
We're together exactly 80 years ago, so there could be no more perfect morning to reach this historic agreement, and it's beautiful weather out. I will tell you that, Keir. Beautiful weather. So
great weather for a trade deal, you know. Nice day for a white wedding, too.
Perfect outside. But it's really, in particular, the agreement with one of our close...
I wanted to be with Keir alone and talk about the weather.
And most cherished allies. And we're so...
That we slapped a fucking 30% tariff on for no fucking reason, just to be dicks about a month and a half ago.
That's the way it worked out. I want to thank Prime Minister Starmer and his...
Mr. Starmer. Man, they fucking loaded him up with the fucking Adderall today, didn't they?
Very talented team for their outstanding work and partnership. Today's agreement with the UK is the first in a series of agreements on trade that my administration has been negotiating over the past 4 weeks. With this deal, the UK joins the United States in affirming that reciprocity and fairness is an essential and vital principle of international trade.
Great. So they signed a statement of principle. You know, that's what I like about this guy. He's not a real politician. He doesn't do those politic things, you know, like putting commissions together to argue about the meaning of words and then spend a lot of time patting himself on the back for signing documents about the meanings of words. No, he gets straight to the issue. He talks like we talk, forgetting the order of words, but still, he uses the same words we use, just in interesting usement structures.
The deal includes billions of dollars of increased market access for American exports, especially in agriculture, dramatically increasing access for American beef, ethanol, and virtually...
Well, they rescinded the mad cow thing that they put on 15 years ago?
All of the products produced by our great farmers, and our Secretary, as you know, of Agriculture is here. Brooke, thank you very much for being here.
Good day. Thank you, sir.
You'll let the farmers know.
Yes, you will. She'll go door to door, dipshit. Let the farmers know. Excuse me. I'm looking for Ray Finkel and a clean pair of shorts. Right.
In addition, the UK...
Let the farmers know. Yeah, I'll call them up.
will reduce or eliminate numerous non-tariff barriers that unfairly discriminated against American products. But this is now turning out, I think, really to be a great deal for both countries, because it'll be really great for the UK also. So they're opening up the country. Their country is a little closed, and we appreciate that.
We do appreciate that it's a little closed. Maybe why? Because it was a lot closed, and it's not. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about.
They'll also be fast tracking American goods through their customs process, so our exports go to a very, very quick form of approval, and there won't be any red tape. Things are going to move very quickly both ways.
Yes. So if you want to ship some contraband to England, now's your chance. You could send some cryptos in a box marked shoes.
Final details are being written up in the coming weeks. We'll have it all very conclusive, but the actual deal.
We signed a detailless deal, and you can't spell detail without deal. So maybe there's something to this. Shit. Listen to that again. Just listen to that.
Be any red tape. Things are going to move very quickly both ways. The final details are being written up in the coming weeks. We'll have it all very conclusive, but the actual deal is a very conclusive one, we think.
Sure it is. Yeah, it's going to be done in a couple weeks, but it's already done. If you really think about it, it's just done right now. We're going to draft it up.
Just about everything's been approved.
Just about? That's how, I mean, then fucking sign it. That's the standard, right? Just about. Chabudor.
So good for both countries, and we'll.
It's so good. It's just about. Well, it's just about good for both. I mean, it's just a bit. For England, it's just about good, and it's just about good for us. Maybe it is. I don't know.
Receive new market access for American chemicals, machinery, and many other industrial products that weren't allowed.
Like what? Chlorine. By the way, hit the like, share the show, etc., etc., etc. It helps the show. It saves the show. It makes the show. It's up to you. It's up to you! Get on your feet, you fuckers. All right.
And they'll end up getting products that they'll be able to price, and if they like them better and we make great products, they'll be buying those products, but they were not available in the UK. Further,
I'm sorry. If I have a stroke, don't call for help, because I might need to have a stroke to understand what the fuck he's talking about. Maybe, yeah, think of it as it would be like a stroke to English translator.
In a historic step, the deal includes plans that will bring the United Kingdom.
Ooh, a deal that includes plans. That sounds final.
Into the economic security alignment with the United States. That's the first of its kind. So we have a big economic security blanket, and that's very...
We do? Yeah, don't pee when it's on, though, because you'll electrocute yourself. We have a big economic security blanket. Yeah, it's sort of an international, it's a national security whoopee. We're like the Linus of the world's economy. At least it's the last page. I mean, look at that.
Important, and we feel very, very comfortable with that, because it's been a great ally, truly one of our great allies. I mean, a lot of people say our greatest ally. I don't want to insult people by saying that, but I can say it's certainly one of our greatest, and right at the top, and they're the first one we're talking about. And by the way,
are they? Because this is the first? The first time you're talking about it is the first? Okay, good to know. By the way, this deal is not done, so you rushed it to the front of the line. Why? Because it was V-Day?
Many meetings planned today and tomorrow, and every country.
Yeah, this presidenting thing is bullshit. I could be golfing.
Wants to be making deals. And we have a meeting, as you know, Scott will be going over to Switzerland on Saturday, and that'll be...
Oh, no doubt. Is he going to one of those, like, Illuminati bunkers where they all have a circle jerk wearing clown masks? I'm kidding. Of course he is.
Very interesting. Let's find it.
Sure.
I think they want to make a deal very badly, too. Both countries have agreed that the economic security is national security and will be working together as allies to ensure that we have a strong industrial base, appropriate export controls, and protections for key technologies and industries like steel. Steel is a big factor. Both countries will become stronger with steel and things necessary.
With steel?
For military. You know, we used to build ships and other things literally at a level that nobody's ever seen. And
well, I guess they saw it when it was happening. If we used to do it, then obviously it was a level that lots of people have seen. Anybody who's watched a World War II documentary, I think.
We haven't, we've eased up, and I would say that the UK certainly eased up, but now we're going to be uneasing both, and we work together.
It's the great uneasing. Jesus Christ. We'll be uneasing both. Well, you know what? Point taken. This is kind of true. I think we all feel uneasy with him in charge, so sure.
Once again, I want to thank Prime Minister Starmer. He's been terrific for his partnership in this matter, the special relationship and external bond. It's really an external and an internal bond.
Yeah, it's both. It's both. I mean, it shouldn't be taken internally without a doctor's supervision, but sure.
Between our two countries, we'll soon be stronger than ever before. And
yeah, it's like Legos, you know, or human centipede. It's an external and internal bond. Yeah.
We have a great relationship. I want to just say that the representatives of UK have been so professional, and it's been an honor doing business with all of them, and in particular the Prime Minister. And I'd like to introduce him now to say a few words. Mr. Prime Minister.
It was such a big day, he had to fly in, but he doesn't want to be in the room, so he's calling from a phone booth at an undisclosed location.
Please take it away.
Thank you, Mr. President, Donald, and this is a really fantastic, historic day in which we can announce.
I almost feel like, hold on, where do we do this? Just like, hold on. Hold on. Hey there, Donald, you're a complete dipshit, and everybody just basically hates you over here. You know, most of us are annoyed at your fucking face, and we're just glad to get this partially deal done so you have something to wag in front of your dipshit followers, and, you know, it can all be over soon. We don't really want to talk to you that much, so we thought, you know, a great way to just kind of broom your stupid ass, you know? It's just kind of irritating, you know, because you would really see just sitting there like a fucking stooge and boring the shit out of everybody. And so I just thought, you know, call you up, and I think of this as more like an economic prank phone call, you know what I mean? I feel a bit like Crank Yankers, the economic, if it was on Bloomberg, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, so you're a dipshit, and hopefully J.D. Vance won't be a shitheel when we have to deal with him. So thanks so much, and good luck with your phony wagging of pieces of paper to try and salvage the fact that you're shitting a hole in the economy there, I think, really. So I don't know what else to say, really. I'd like to go back to actually being a real prime minister and doing things for my actual people instead of just glad-handing dipshit rich assholes and making the worst of it. Thanks so much.
In Europe, and that led to great celebration.
And scene. I don't know when it ended, so.
Across Europe, across America, but particularly in the United Kingdom, literally people going out into the street, putting bunting up, going up to the palace.
Bunting? What? Oh, he's talking about VE Day. Bunting? Bunting? They put up, really? Oh my God. I mean, that's how you tell people are having like a lovely time, is they're putting bunting up. Mm.
And so to be able to announce this great deal on the same day, 80 years forward, almost at the same hour, and as we were 80 years ago, with the UK and the US standing side by side, I think is incredibly...
This is the verbal version of the Macron handshake for everybody who's keeping score.
Important and makes this truly historic.
It does.
That close relationship has endured over those 80 years. As you know, Donald, when it comes to defence and security and intelligence sharing, of course, there are no two countries that are closer than our two countries. And now we take this into...
Canada is right next door. I don't want to offend him, but I mean, they are right there. I mean, like, if we need anything, it's going to take you at least 6 hours to fly here, my friend. But like a Canadian could be here in 20 minutes. So, no offense.
New and important territory by adding trade and the economy to the closeness of our relationship. It is built, as you say, on...
And he's asleep. Sleepy, sleepy, bye-bye. Yeah, he calls him Donald all the time. Trump hates being called Donald. It's funny.
Those notions of fairness and reciprocal arrangements. We've always had a fair and balanced arrangement between our countries. This builds on that. Hugely important for sectors like car manufacturing.
Yeah, it takes all the stuff we've been doing and goes back to what we were doing before your bullshit.
And for steel and aluminium and so many others. And yes, we can finish ironing out some of the details, but there's a fantastic platform here, including...
Yeah, that's what we're really signing a platform, if you really think about it. It's not... I wouldn't say it's like a concert. It's the temporary stage they put up at Woodstock that smells of dog piss and manure a bit, you know, and may fall down in the rain if this is too much of a downpour, you know. That's the thing, yeah. But maybe not. Might go fine. Could be all right.
Of course, on the tech side, where I think I'm right in saying we're the only two Western countries with trillion-dollar sectors when it comes to tech. And in the end, it comes down to...
Trump's like, you are? Jesus Christ. This is some heavy-lidded stuff.
As you say, Donald, economic security is national security. On national security, we've been absolutely the closest of allies for so many years, keeping the peace through that close alliance, that friendship. And now we add to that this deal on trade and the economy. And I want to thank you for your leadership on that, Donald, and for...
It's just like, this is great TV, by the way. I like to say, you know those folks who say he's a master showman? Absolutely. This is great stuff. Yeah, why get Keir Starmer on a screen and say roll in a monitor so you can see him like he's as live when you can just have him on speakerphone? By the way, Donald, am I on speaker?
In which your team have negotiated.
Oh, we have a troll in the chat? I forgot. Welcome, trolls. I haven't said that in a while. I got remember, we love to have the trolls around here because they improve our ranking in the algorithm in ways that regular viewers cannot. So thanks very much to the trolls for showing up and giving your eyeball time. Again, that's the thing about time. No refunds. And then, of course, when you write stuff, you not only... by just watching the show, you help me in the algorithm. When you write things, it actually boosts me in the algorithm because it tells the algorithm that not only am I interesting, I'm fucking engaging. So, and again, you put us in places in the algorithm and out into the, we show up in your feed the way it would never show up with just people who are like-minded. So, hey, trolls, welcome. You might learn something, maggots, because, and by the way, we don't ask much of our trolls, just that they answer the question, why the fuck would it take Donald Trump 25 years to figure out that Jeffrey Epstein was a pedophile when most of you say you could figure it out in 10 minutes? Why is that? We'll wait. Okay, anyways, back to where we were, and thanks for being here. Don't forget to give a thumbs down or use an angry emoji or something, because quite frankly, we all know that all these sites, wherever you're watching, don't really care how you feel about it. They just care that you're here and your emotions are heightened. Dipshit. Yeah, I had to throw in that you're a dipshit in the end because, you know you are, and you'd think I was a liar if I didn't bring it up right away. Okay.
I'm so pleased that we've got this deal. We've finalized it.
He's looking, by the way, more like Tony Clifton every day. Dump, dump, dump. I think when he listens to Keir Starmer, he's trying to do his Churchill face. We will fight them on the fields.
we've built an incredible platform for the future. So thank you so much.
Yes, it's not a deal we're about to sign. It's a platform for the future. Yeah, absolutely. Look, if Biden came out and said he'd struck a major deal with another country, a bilateral trade agreement, that they had agreed on principles going forward, and said it was done, and they were signing it on that day, you guys would absolutely have supported him because it's good for American industry. You wouldn't have at all called out the fact that no deal has been signed, and this is just mid-negotiation pressure that he's trying to do to make his own voters think something's already done.
Donald, I'm now going to go and do a press conference. I think you...
Yeah, Donald, I'd love to stay and bore you to sleep, but I've got to actually go talk to my own constituents who I give a shit about, unlike you. Okay.
Press in with you, but on the details, I think if you've got Howard, we can deal with that through one of my team.
That's great. Well, Mr. Prime Minister, thank you very much. It's an honor. We're going to have a continued, maybe a better relationship than ever before. You know, I don't know if the media knows, but They
probably don't. Whatever you're about to say, they have no idea.
U.S. and U.K. have been working for years to try and make a deal, and it never quite got there.
Yeah.
It did with this Prime Minister. So I want to just congratulate you.
Well, with this president, this prime minister, we've managed to achieve what many people have tried to achieve for many years.
That's right.
Yes, a platform for a deal that hasn't been signed yet, in the same way that everyone's been working for a platform for a deal that hasn't been signed yet, but announcing it as if it's been signed, because that's progress.
And I'm really pleased, and it feels completely historic and on a special 80-year anniversary as well. So, Donald, thank you so much. It's really good to have got this deal over the line. Tribute to both teams, tribute to our country.
Over the starting line, I would like to say for the record. This is like playing Looks Like We Made It at your wedding. Looks like we made it to the part where we just get started. All right.
Tribute to your leadership.
Thank you. Well, it really is a great thing. And you go do your press conference, and I'll see you soon. Maybe speak to you later. But thank you very much. An incredible thing. I can't tell you that for so many years, even as I sat, everybody talked and talked and talked about a deal with, it just seemed like a natural deal, but it was not done. But now it was done with us. So I feel very proud.
It's not actually done. Just saying.
I've been a part of it. Keir, thank you very much.
Thanks, Donald, and we'll speak again soon.
Very good. So long. Bye.
Bye. Look, they're applauding the fact that he was able to carry out a phone call without getting into a shouting match with somebody that he's supposed to be friends with.
That's really nice.
Yes, it is. Applaud the deal that isn't done. What could possibly go wrong?
Why don't I do this? Why don't I have our Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnik,
Oh, God. Well, when things were going so well.
give a little description of the deal pretty quick?
Yeah, tell us what the deal is, Lutnik. Explain that, yeah, because we're a little soft on details over here, so let's hear it.
And, the good side, the very nice side, we'll be speaking about it also, maybe, from so you get a pretty equal. I think it's a very, it's just been a deal that was, we thought, very complicated. It became very simple. It's opening up the country that we really didn't have the kind of access to that I would have thought. I was surprised. I think it's why the deal never got done before. It was, you know, they've been working on this deal for 25 years. And we got it done, and we got it done. Really, it's going to be great for both countries. So.
Oh, I see. So what he's saying is he gave huge concessions to like the ruling class in England and the rich people over there in terms of Rolls-Royce and yachts and financial services and that kind of stuff. And that's stuff that the other presidents weren't willing to give on because it's the majority of the exchange. So he's just like, nah, fuck it. Rich people shouldn't pay taxes anyways.
Howard, if you could go, and then somebody else, you may have...
Anybody else who talked on this fucking thing? Does anybody know what's in this shit that I just lauded for 20 minutes?
Whoever you want who'd like to do it. I have a feeling you're going to do it, right?
Huh? You want to give me a little what for? I was going to give you a little wonk wonk. I was going to grab you by the pussy. Lucky he blocked me. The guy's quick.
So you guys go ahead, and then we'll take questions right after that. But I think you'll get a pretty good understanding of how.
It was a little bit of an awkward hand touch. I don't know what's going on there. It was very sweet. Don't get me wrong. It was adorable. It was like they hadn't seen each other since he hadn't seen his trainer since he'd been released into the wild. Sarah, I'll cover that at the end, CSL. Okay, Trump says he's naming Fox News host and former Judge Jeanine Pirro as top federal prosecutor in D.C. Oh, yeah, that's whatever.
It's a very large deal, very big deal, and
we'll talk about that in a minute.
So the UK is the 6th largest economy in the world and the 4th largest that we export to, right? So it's a huge market, a top 10 market. If you remember Liberation Day,
yeah, they fucking love Kit Kats and truck nuts.
They were at 10% because we have balanced trade with the UK, right? They say they have a surplus, but of course that counts.
They do have a surplus.
Gold bullion, which is, so let's just call it balanced trade.
Jesus Christ. They have a surplus that we have a surplus with them essentially because they buy gold bullion from us.
So how do you open up a market in balanced trade? People think it's impossible. They've always thought it was impossible.
How do you open up a market that's basically already open, and what little protections there are in the country are really just to maintain the structure of their internal companies so that they don't get swamped by a much larger economy? How do you do that? When basically things are fine, how do you fuck that up? Well, take it away.
Until President Trump came on the scene and changed the way things work. So
yes, from working to not working is technically a way of changing the way things work.
Here's what we've got. We've opened up new market access. Ethanol, beef, machinery, all the agricultural products. They've agreed to open their markets, and that will add $5 billion of opportunity to American exporters.
Sorry, we just destroyed $6 trillion in wealth, took our GDP to 0.3% to get $5 billion worth of agricultural shit sold to England? Are you fucking kidding me? That's it? They have a $1 trillion tech industry, and you're like, guys, we're going to make $5 billion. If we do this with 9 more countries, we could buy Twitter. Jesus Christ.
The question is, why would they do that now? Because they've never done it before. And we still have our 10% tariff on, which will produce $6 billion of revenue for the United States.
Again, we lost, it's destroying trillions of dollars in just these blanket tariff things across the board. If you could make this deal and it was so, who gives a shit? Our budget, the federal government's budget is $7 trillion. And you're talking about $11 trillion in total back and forth trade?
The idea was, how do they keep their jobs, protect their economy, and do the best for their people while opening the market for us? And the way is they studied it, their team was exceptional, and they tried to figure out the markets that they're importing from other people and try to send them over to America. So why? Okay,
yeah, this was just a fucking trade deal that had nothing to do with the tariff aspect of it. It was just we'll lower it from 25 to 10 on shit you don't even sell, give you a ton of exemptions on what little comes from fucking England, and the stuff we sell to you, that you buy from other places, buy some of it from us, including oil, instead of from Russia, because we're producing more than ever. Thanks, Joe Biden.
Always favoring others and not us. And what they've done is they've found the ways to do that.
Oh my fucking God. So they didn't have tariffs with these other countries? They were just buying shit because it was cheaper? So what'd you do? Give them a break? Or you give them a tax break on other stuff? So it effectively zeroes out the difference? So you subsidized it with government back end. Oh my God. I can't wait to read this piece of fiction.
We have new access, right? But the UK workers are protected, and that was the balance. So you've got,
Yeah, it's exactly why all these countries have tariffs versus us anyways, because they're trying to protect their workers while buying as much. Jesus fucking Christ.
Deal with them in automobiles. And you know, if you're not building here, we charge you a 25% tariff. But
if you do build here, it's a 35% tax. Oh, and the workers cost more. And you'll have to import a lot of the machinery, so that'll cost you more, and it'll have a tariff on top of it. Yeah. Fucking brilliant. Just real fucking smart. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, because, you know, you were building in this other country where production was cheaper, labor was cheaper, and all that kind of stuff. But you'd have to pay a 25% tariff on that shit. But if you bring it over here, you can pay 32 to 37% in taxes. You have to pay into Social Security for all your workers. You got, the general wages are about 5 times higher than any place you would offshore to at this point. And most of the gear that you have to get, you'd have to import, so they would have tariffs imposed on top of them. What Howard Lutnik is trying to say is just stay in your own country. You'll make more money that way.
And by the way, I want to make this clear. While Jameson and I worked hard, this was the president's deal. And people think, oh, that's not the way it works. If you got to sit next to him, I have the best deal maker to my...
Oh, my fucking God. All praise him, glory to the King. We praise him with our words. We praise him as we sing. Oh, yes, we do. Like, come on. That's not even close to true. I'll tell you what this looks like to me. Tell you what this looks like. This looks like an insult by faint praise. This sounds like, don't blame me for what's in this stupid fucking deal. This is the asshole who came up with it. I had another deal, and then he came in and said something, and we just had to go along with it because he's a fucking lunatic. If it doesn't get signed, it's not because I stopped it. It's because, right.
And if you don't think that we take advantage of him calling the prime minister and getting that deal done, you don't understand who's the president of the United States. So
you're right. Well, I understand who he is, but I don't understand him.
The closer, he gets...
I don't understand how you could be friends with Jeffrey Epstein for 25 years and not know. Maggots in the chat. Any answer? Any way that you could imagine in your life, in any way that you could live next door to the dude, hang out with him, party with him all the time, to the point where you're wishing his girlfriend / human trafficking procurer, Ghislaine Maxwell, well when she goes to jail. That close. You know him that well, but you couldn't figure out he was a pedophile. He brought underage girls on your fucking plane. You still couldn't figure it out. What is that? I don't know. They'll figure it out. All right.
Done that we could never get done because he understands business.
It's not done. It's not done. They're just punting. They're gonna like put the 10% on, give him a bunch of exceptions. That's what they're talking about. There's not going to be a trade deal ultimately signed unless it's just kind of perfunctory piece of paper that says we'll keep going like what we're doing, and they're just going to repeal any, like the tariffs will be on 10% across the board tariff on shit nobody ever sends us from England, with exceptions for everything anybody ever buys from England, and vice versa. It'll be 2.5% their direction, so they can protect their workers, which is what it was fucking before.
Understands deals, and that's why we're here today. So he agreed they could send 100,000 cars into America.
There it is. There it is. They get to send 100,000 cars into America Let me guess. Without a tariff?
Only pay a 10% tariff.
Only
and that
10%.
protects their...
They already paid like the tariff on cars is already that high in most cases with them, if not higher, because it was like fucking Rolls-Royces and shit.
Industry. And remember, we do 16 million cars a year. So this is only like 0.6%.
Yeah, it's just, and it's the high-end ones. You know, rich people don't give a fuck about an extra 10%. They're like, Rolls-Royce, give me one for each foot.
For the UK auto people, this is tens of thousands of jobs that the president agreed that he would protect for them, so he made that deal, right? Then steel and aluminum, right? Their steel business has been destroyed like everybody else has been destroyed by people dumping steel into their markets.
So we're not going to sell them steel, is your point?
British Steel had announced it was closing down. So the British government, as part of this deal, nationalized British Steel, and they're going to match the kinds of models we do. They'll put tariffs on, they'll put quotas on. They want to do it with America so they can be part of the resurgence of steel and aluminum.
Okay, so they're not buying steel from us. We're not buying steel from them. They're just doing the same protections that we have against Chinese steel, which they were already starting to do. There's a whole fucking story about how, like, a month and a half ago, hold on. Let's see, British Steel, like the last British steel mill was getting closed. Yeah, MPs vote to save British Scunthorpe blast furnace. This is 3 weeks ago. Yeah, okay, here's a month.
They've been making steel on this site for 150 years.
They have.
Its fate will be decided in the next few days.
That's right, everyone. I never said we were more important than British Steel, just so we're more well known. Also, it's a great album from Judas Priest, if I do say so.
As British Steel prepares for its potential closure, Sky News has secured exclusive
Breaking the law, sorry.
access to its iron and steel-making operations in Scunthorpe. This is the first time cameras have been allowed in here for half a decade. And at the heart of it all is this. One of the two remaining blast furnaces, Queen Anne.
Queen Anne, because it's, well.
What you're looking at behind us, that is the base of one of the blast furnaces here in Scunthorpe at British Steel. What they're doing is they're taking iron ore and essentially melting it down to a form of lava, for want of a better term. And that pure iron then goes on to become steel. Making virgin steel is one of the bedrocks of the Industrial Revolution that happened here in this country. But now, this is the last remaining place.
It's a second to last, but...
It is made. It's the last one.
Second to last.
And what you're looking at here might well be one of the last taps of molten iron out of here, because if something doesn't change, then within a matter of weeks, potentially days, this place could be shut down.
Okay, so this has nothing to do with fucking Trump's bullshit at all. That was already happening. That was already, Dinsdale, that was already going on. And they were going through the same kind of steel dumping shit that we've been through, except we have a bigger industry than they do. And our problem in the States is not production of steel, it's fabricators. The fabricators are the ones that went to Canada because it was cheaper, because your dollar went twice as far. And so they moved up in the Northeast. It's the fabricators that were bitching, not the actual steel plants, where our production of steel could be higher, but we still have plants. They only had this one plant with 2 furnaces. And again, they flim-flammed him. They suckered him into basically letting them make steel and start selling it in the United States, if anything, to give it another market to help British Steel revive, which is fine. But again, this doesn't benefit steel workers in the United States, and it certainly is going to bring manufacturing here.
We are on real threat of losing these furnaces.
Oh, sorry. We're going to lose these furnaces. It's very sad. If they shut down, they explode.
Run out of...
Quit. We're going to run out of
America,
fire.
and that saves them, again, thousands and thousands of jobs. So if you go step by step.
And it was already happening, had nothing to do with this deal.
Aero and commercial planes, they sell Rolls-Royce engines to Boeing. We've agreed to let Rolls-Royce engines and those kind of plane parts to come over tariff-free.
Right. So, exactly. So, what I tell you, like all the big buyers, all the top shit, they're all the Boeing, the large companies are going to get exemptions out the ass. And anybody who sells consumer goods is going to get fucked because they are transferring the tax burden from the upper 30% to the bottom 70%. That's what this is about. This is about making you pay more for everyday goods. Everybody in the big industries, the robber baron class, is going to get a break on whatever they need. By the way, yes, thank you, Andrea. You can put stars in and support the show on Facebook. I'm just saying. Also, if you're on Substack, restack me.
That sounds dirty.
What you're going to hear today is there's going to be an announcement in the UK that they are buying $10 billion worth of Boeing planes later today, but I'm going to let the name of the airline announce it because that's theirs to do it. Part of this deal was always to do it together and to do it strong, and you can see the numbers on this board. Everything about this board works exceptionally well for the United States of America.
Well, for the billionaires that run those companies, because they're going to be able to avoid the tariffs where the average person will not. That's the point. You can raise GDP by the United States selling $10 billion worth of planes. I mean, you fucked it by losing $6 trillion, in the stock and bond market. But, and never mind the small businesses that are going to get wiped out. But everybody who has like mid-level consumer goods is still going to be on the hook for the highest versions of these things. Unless, here's the only thing you can do. If you're in a consumer good business that Trump is also in, like if you buy a bunch of red hats, but you put other shit on it, you get it stenciled here, those red hats are going to be cheap as fuck. I guarantee they're going to get carved out.
Lays out the plan that you can work with us in autos, you can work with us with aero and commercial, you can work with us in pharmaceuticals if you have a supply chain that is secure and protected in national security. So we feel really good about the deal. You've heard the Prime Minister, he feels really good about the deal, right? And we started at 10%.
Yeah, and fuck your feelings. I'm sorry. No, that was the wrong time to bring that up. I'm sorry. That's no. We're out of. Fuck your feelings is so 2022.
We ended at 10%, and the market for America is better. And this is a perfect example of why Donald Trump produced Liberation Day. People don't understand. He gets things done.
You're right. People don't understand. Like they're looking at the results and going, no, I don't understand.
In a matter of time, this would have taken Jameson and I 3 years, maybe. And instead, we got it done in 45 days, certainly, because we worked.
It's not done. You agreed on a platform for further talks. Nothing's done, you dumb motherfucker.
Trump. So, Jameson, my partner in all this, maybe Jameson, you'd like to talk a little, and then we'll turn it over to the UK.
Sure, happy to do that. Everyone has had great remarks. I just have to echo the President and the Prime Minister when we talk about VE Day. This is something we've been waiting for decades, and there is no more appropriate day to do this. And
oh my fucking God. Can anybody remember a time when we were like, oh my fucking God, the UK is screwing us on trade. Holy shit, they're the worst. I'm trying to buy some tea and crumpets, and I make the best tea and crumpets, but they won't let me sell into England. This was never a hanging point. It still isn't. This is the kind of trade shit that goes on all the time between countries behind the scenes because it's too fucking boring. It doesn't even chart. And they are trying to this is like watching Skinamax porn. It's like fucking with no boner. This is just like two bodies squashing against each other going, ooh, and hoping the music makes you feel sexy. It's terrible. This is not a thing. It's not a thing. Nobody cares about this. No one. It's meaningless. You should have been able to do this behind the scenes and never even consider that you should be taking credit for it. Because the trade representatives of the United States and the UK do this all the fucking time, especially when there are emerging industries or re-emerging industries in the case of British Steel. It's nothing. It's a waste of fucking time. There's no this wouldn't be a victory lap. The reason why you're like, I've been trying to make this deal for a long time. There is no final deal. A, this deal isn't done, and B, this isn't like the last time we're gonna have to address trade with the UK. So it's an ongoing process. So this is yet another rung in a fucking ladder that you're constantly climbing up and down. That's it. And so far it sucks. They're just able to dump a bunch of fucking Rolls-Royces into the United States so rich assholes can avoid the tariffs. Meanwhile, like if you buy a fucking Hyundai or a Toyota, fuck you.
When we step back and we look back a few weeks from now or months from now or years from now, we're going to look back at this day
and laugh. Oh, we already are, dipshit.
Better appreciate the significance, I think.
Yeah, years from now, we'll look back on this day and better appreciate the significance of the significant size of the hole in our lives and the waste of time this was.
I'll just say as well, in terms of negotiating, I mean, the UK negotiators, you know, we've got one right here, did an incredible job, right? This is why you win wars, right? When you act like this, and the ambassador, he knows more about trade than a lot of us here, based on his background. And I would say on this.
Yeah, but that's true of most of the reporters that are in the room. I think it's. I mean, that's true of the World Cup trophy versus you.
Mr. President, what we've shown is that it is time to change the way we do trade.
We're not changing the way we do trade. This does not change the way we do trade at all. It doesn't. This is exactly how we've always done trade. This is exactly how trade is done. I mean, it's usually done better than this, but that's it. Why is that guy? He's the trade representative. This is the trade ambassador. This guy is the guy who, he and Lutnik are the ones, and Besant are the ones actually making the deals that exist. That's supposedly it. He's the one who's been in front of Congress a few times. That's why he's talking. Ugh.
Said we couldn't do a global tariff. We did a global tariff. They said no.
No, and not just, they didn't say you couldn't do it. Well, Congress did because it's illegal, but shouldn't is the bigger part. They didn't say, more people said you shouldn't than couldn't. They are more concerned that you can, but it's fucking dumb.
Want to deal with us? People want to deal. They said no one give offers. You saw that stack of offers I showed you yesterday. All those countries. Said,
oh yeah, Madagascar's and don't get me started. Those penguins play fucking hardball.
Deals, and here we are with a deal with the 6th largest economy. We've agreed to have fair and reciprocal trade, and we've done it in record time.
Yeah, you're not signing anything today. You notice he just has a little folder and no ink pen. You know, notice the total lack of Sharpie and his stupid, like, I'm out of poo-poo, where he shows it. Notice the total lack of that today? Yeah? I mean, maybe they'll have a signing ceremony. Maybe Keir's going to come over. He's going to go over there, and they'll sit and sign it together. And then we can all go, oh, yeah, it's just like, this will be a great trade deal, like USMCA, which apparently is worse than NAFTA.
Thank you very much. Sir. Great job.
Thanks.
Thanks for were those memberships? Somebody gift memberships? I just saw that go by. Hold on. Who that? Hold on. Scrolling back, scrolling. Sorry. Who was that in Andrea in the staff chat? Can you mention? Because I missed it when it went by. The chat goes by very fast. I'm just saying. I try. Hold on. Where'd that go? What is this? Quit it. Okay.
Mr. Ambassador, please.
Well, Mr. President, thank you very much indeed in hosting us this morning.
Absolutely. Great to be here. Yeah.
And thank you very much indeed also for that very typical 11th hour intervention by you with your phone call to the President, demanding even more out of this deal than any of us expected. So,
which kept it from being actually signed.
Thank you for that. The Prime Minister was delighted, obviously, to take that call later tonight. But you took it to another level, and I think the point I would make is twofold. One is that if we're going to rebalance and rebuild international trade in a way that serves all our interests, then we're better doing that together than separately.
Yeah, I would agree. If you're involved in trade, you should be working together with the people you're trading with. At some point.
And that's what we're on a mission to do. But secondly, you've done what you said you would do. You said to the Prime Minister when he came and we visited in the Oval that you would do a good trade deal with the United Kingdom, that you would do it at pace, and that we would be first. And you have delivered that. You've been true to your word. So thank you very much indeed for that.
Oh my God, this North Korean bullshit is so annoying.
For us, it's not the end. It's the end just of the beginning. I mean,
there it is. I mean, that's it. That's it. There you go. It's the end of the beginning, because actually there is no deal, actually. But it's the beginning of the thing where we said we couldn't get to because you're such an arsehole. But it's the end of the beginning, not the beginning of the end.
Yet more we can do.
Thank you, Joy.
Reducing tariffs and trade barriers so as to open up our markets to each other even more than we're agreeing to do today. But it also provides us with the platform, the springboard, to do what I think will be even more valuable for both our countries in the future, and that's creating a technology partnership between the United States and the United Kingdom so that we can harness science and technology in order.
I agree, but I'm fairly certain you could talk about it at length. I'd love to hear from this asshole about the kind of technological industries in the U.S. and the U.K., the higher levels of stuff. Just explain which ones would really have, kind of where America would be the prime on it, and where England would be the prime on it, what their better industries are, what they're better at in terms of cybersecurity and technology. I don't want to give you too much to run on, but in terms of, what we make here as far as circuitry design and the like, how do you think that'll work out? What do you think the intricacies of that I'm fucking around.
Create future industries and future jobs, and to do that together in the way we work so closely already in the national security and defense area, we can just take that to yet further areas of science, enterprise and endeavor. So we're looking forward to doing that in the coming months. You've launched us extremely well today. It just, in my view, as the Prime Minister has said, just shows what two countries who trust each other, who are...
Meanwhile, Grandpa has already fallen asleep. I wasn't falling asleep, I was letting the words wash over me.
Confident in each other and are familiar with each other can do, not just for ourselves, but for the rest of the world who need to benefit from a bigger and better international trading system.
Thank you very much. It was beautifully stated. What a beautiful accent, too. I'd like to have that accent. Thank you.
My mother would be proud.
Why does he keep touching that guy? It's just kind of interesting. Does he think it's going to rub off? I hear you get smart just by touching British people. I've been to England a couple of times, and if that was possible, I would be far smarter than I am now, which is dangerous.
Thank you very much. Any questions?
James Matthews from Sky News.
Yes.
Can I ask, why Britain and why now? And you've described this deal as a full and comprehensive deal, and yet we've just heard from Mr. Mattels and it's the end of the beginning. Clearly, there's much more work still to do. With respect, are you...
Right, yeah, it's like everybody spotted it.
Stating the reach and significance of this deal, because you're a president who needs a result at a difficult time.
I think that it's a great deal for both parties. It's for us. We're opened up. I didn't know how closed it was. Quite closed, the market, as you know.
Oh yes, we went there at 7:30, and usually I thought they were open till 8 o'clock, and they were closed. It's very sad, and only slightly closed. I could still see the shopkeeper inside. He was sweeping. I was like, could you give us a minute? I just need to grab a couple of things. I know exactly what I want. He's like, no, sorry. We're partially closed. Shit.
And it opens up a tremendous market for us. And
oh yeah, I get like they're gonna buy all kinds of John Deere tractors and shotguns. Yeah, like that AR-15 market in the UK is just waiting to be cracked wide open. Fuck hell.
It works out very well, and a lot of assets. You see the chart, and those are tremendous assets. But we've been trying, and when you say why us, meaning your country.
I see.
Trying for years, and they've been trying for years to make a deal, including when I was in the, first term. It would always be people talking, but they weren't getting it done. But for 25 years before that, they were trying always to make a deal, a very significant deal. I actually, until I looked at the numbers, I didn't realize this is a very...
You didn't realize it till he said it. But until Lutnik said they were like the 6th biggest buyer or something. Like he didn't realize it till that, like today, during this press conference.
Deal, but we think we can grow it even from that. But this is a maxed out deal, not like you said it. You said it really incorrectly. This is a maxed out deal that we're going to make bigger.
Well, if it's maxed out, you can't, stupid.
And we make it bigger through growth. But
I see.
We have tremendous assets involved. I was surprised to see how big your country is in trade. Actually, one of the biggest in technology and so many other things. It's agriculture.
Yeah, we heard what they said right in front of you a couple of minutes ago.
I really didn't know. It's depending on your definition, it's from 4 to 5 to 6. That's pretty big in the world. So I was very.
It's 6. It's definitely 6. It's absolutely 6th. That's how there's a real list. It's got real numbers.
By that, but we're going to take it to new levels. It's a very big deal right now, but I think it is going to grow just of its own volition. It's going to grow, and over time there'll be changes made. There'll be adjustments made because we're
right as it always has been. Again, fuck. This is so lazy. All of this bullshit. And my problem is, do maggots buy this garbage? Do they watch this and they're like, fucking boom! Finally, put England in its place. We got a fucking trade deal. Let's go! Like, do they actually watch this and think, holy shit, nailed it? I don't even give a shit about the Epstein files anymore. Boom! They can't. Honestly. They gotta know this is not a done deal. The ambassador just said it. Trump's people said it. Keir Starmer said it. That reporter just said it to his fucking face. Every maggot, every troll watching this, listen up. It's not a done deal. He said it. They've said it. He's not signing anything. This is just a folder with talking points in it. You know it. Everybody knows it. Shut the fuck up and at least hold to the standard that you held for Democrats. Stop being such a pussy and actually call it what it is. It's a PR event. That's what this is. Because he needs a win to try and steady the markets because his whole tariff plan is shitting the bed. That's it. And if he's smart to do it, even though it's bullshit because it'll move, because the market moves on emotion or whatever, then say that. Then say that's what he's doing and give him credit for that. But don't pretend there's an actual fucking deal here. And by saying we have to update it all the time and there's still work to do, and even after it's signed, we're still going to have to do stuff, you're basically saying that that's what all trade environments are like. That's what always fucking happens. Jesus.
Flexible, we'll see things that we can do even better.
Yes, flexible, the other word for flip-flop.
It's very conclusive, and we think everyone's going to be happy. And
it's very conclusive, even though there's going to be a lot of changes. We're going to have to be flexible. It's going to be a lot of changes, but it's very conclusive because I don't know what conclude means.
The people of your country are going to be very impressed with the result.
Go tell them. Go tell them. She'll tell the farmers. You go tell the Englands.
They'll be able
the Englanders.
For more people, they'll be able to price things differently. They'll be able to get some products that aren't available to them now that we make better than anybody in the world.
Like the American Girl dolls. What are you going to open up a Filene's basement?
And it's just something that it's a.
Don't worry. Congratulations, England. Hot topics coming your way.
Thing that it came together. It's so nice because we have
it is nice.
Many countries want to make a deal, and many countries are very unhappy that we happen to choose this one. To be honest with you, but it's a long time.
Why? Why would they be on? You mean because they're not getting the press of being the first to make a non-existent deal with you? Shit.
Our oldest ally, or just about. I guess a couple of people claim that too, but let's put it.
Well, France. I mean, France did help us fight the UK. They did help us fight England, so they were with us long before.
At the top, I think it's going to be something very special for UK and special for the United States.
Yes, very special.
Yeah, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Reagan Reese with the Daily Caller. How close are you to more deals, and when do you expect the next to be announced?
Yeah, and will they all be this fucking hot?
Well, very close. We have numerous deals. I know Howard's going back. As soon as this is finished, your press conference, he's got numerous. And
your press conference?
Scott, who's right over here, who's fantastic, by the way. You were great on television this morning. I watched you. You gave them a little lesson in the world and economics. But
oh my God, he can't mean Scott Bessent. It had to be somebody else.
Scott's going to be going to Switzerland, meeting with China, and they very much want to make a deal. We can all play games. Who made?
It's in that bunker where they have the eyes wide shut parties.
First call, who didn't make the, doesn't matter. It only matters what happens in that room. But I will tell you that China very much wants to make a deal.
Oh, by the way, I apologize. I should have probably put this up earlier. Just as a heads up. There's probably going to be a little bit more of this. I don't want to, hopefully they get through some of this shit faster. But good Lord.
That works out.
I have other stuff I want to talk about too.
Every country throughout the last 40, 50 years has literally ripped off the United States.
They literally have not. Nobody gets ripped off in trade unless they're stupid enough to pay more for something than it's worth. And nobody does that with wholesale goods, or they wouldn't buy it.
Trade on military and protection, on all the different things. And we are now making fair deals. And in this case, it's great because we really weren't very much involved. You have the European Union, which is, I think you made the right decision years ago. I don't know if you remember, I was opening up Turnberry the day that you were voting. And they asked me, would it happen or would it not happen? I said, no, I think they're going to go their own separate way. I think it's better for them. And they did. I think it's going to end up being a very smart decision. But a big part of
not so far, but
decision was always that you'd be able to make a deal with the United States. And they were unable to do that. But now they made it. And it's a tremendous, it's very important. That was always a big part of your decision on Brexit.
That guy's? So he was the deciding vote?
And they were never able to.
The person at the Daily Caller?
That deal was, was a tough one. And this one was, it's amazing with time. This one just went very smoothly, went quickly and smoothly.
It's not done.
And a lot of common sense, as I like to say. It's tremendous common sense, but it's going to make your country much bigger in terms of trade, and it's going to make our country much bigger in terms of trade, too. Yes,
how?
Thank you.
Behind you.
Okay. Tom Bateman at the BBC. Thank you, Mr. President.
Hello.
You mentioned me.
You with who?
The BBC.
Who the fuck else would he be with? Listen to his accent. Of course he's from the BBC.
Very nice. They treat me beautifully.
You mentioned meat and beef exports. The UK currently doesn't accept American beef because of its own food standards. Are you calling on the UK to accept all American beef and chicken products?
Well, I think they'll take what they want. We have plenty of it. We have every type. We have every...
We do. We have every type of beef and chicken. Mostly cow and hen. But, you know, there's a lot of variety in there. A lot of trans bird, trans beef out there. I don't know if you've ever heard of turkey bacon.
Classification you can have. As you know, Bobby Kennedy is doing a tremendous job, and he's, I think, probably heading toward your system.
Yes, he's going to raise the standards via regulation on our food so that England will take them. It won't be because you've made a trade deal. It's because you guys are going to eliminate some pesticides, which Democrats have been after forever, and Republicans are like, what the fuck are you doing?
No chemical, no this, no that.
Yeah, that's what, no chemical, no this, no that. That's exactly, when I check the back of a package when I'm at the store buying grocery, I will often go, does it have any chemical or this or that in it? And I look at that, it's got chemical in it.
Heading that way, it seems to be. And but we have that also. So we're a very big country. We have a lot of beef. We're a very big country, so it'll be great. Yes, yes.
You want me to jump in?
Yes.
Let's talk about American beef really quickly, and it can't be understated. I'm Brooke Rollins, by the way. How important this deal is and what this means to American farmers and ranchers. Specific to the beef, this is going to exponentially increase our beef exports. And to be very clear, American beef is the safest, the best quality, and the crown jewel of American agriculture for the world.
Well, I mean, Wagyu. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of great beef in this country. I ate a shit ton of it. But simmer down. You're talking about like fat content and marbling. You're going for Wagyu. I'm just saying. That shit is stupid expensive, though. This is we have the best upper middle class beef. Right, Argentina has great beef. Although I hear that was all made by an experiment from an escaped Nazi, so I don't eat Argentinian beef. I'm afraid it will make me stand up too straight.
So I think a really important part of this deal isn't just the ethanol reducing of tariffs from 19 to 0, which for our row croppers is a huge deal, but also for beef. And as we move forward, I know our incredible trade team is looking at all of the meats, all of the produce, really all of our agriculture exports. And I don't know if there's an industry.
Yeah, that's what says. Nothing says finalized trade deal like we're going to look at. That phrase, I think, more than anything, says boom, done, over. Nailed it, gold medal, stand on the podium, get it wrapped around you, get a slap on the ass, champagne facial, and then on to the next victory.
It has been treated more unfairly and has suffered more than our agriculture industry. So we look.
Well, I blame the asshole who suggested feeding cows to cows, I think, right? That whoever the fuck that guy is. Can we find out who that was? Right? You know it was some asshole at a board meeting going, I mean, we could take all the bone chips and rendered meat and stuff and dry it, turn it into pellets, and then, I mean, it's got to have some protein content, and we feed that back to the cows, right? We could render it and turn it into feed. It's left over. It's right there. We just feed them right. Wouldn't that work? That'll save us some fucking money. Great job, Steve. 10 years later, what's wrong with Gary?
I'll be in the UK on Monday, talking to my counterpart over there for next week, and look forward to moving that out across the country. The president is
I think we could say that we have the best in the world, best tractors, the best everything.
Okay, first of all, asshole, you don't even get to talk about what kind of beef we have. You put ketchup on a steak and you get it well done. Shut up. Just stop. You're not allowed to even bring up the subject.
In the world, and they say that our agriculture is, second to none, you understand, and it'll be a great asset. People are going to be able to have options, choice, and they'll have more of it, and that usually means...
Yes, it's everybody in the world is like, gee, I wish I had more corn.
Lower prices. How about we'll do you and then you? Go ahead.
You.
For the Italian TV, Daniele Compatangelo, LA7, TV 2000.
That was a mistake. Should have done it the other way around. Here comes a guy speaking another language. Now you're in trouble, Trump.
Media. So congratulations for the deal. We'll see a big revenues.
I gotta say, there's very few things I love more than watching Trump listen to someone with a heavy accent speak. Just waiting for him to try and like parse through the fucking words. Say one word I recognize so I can just springboard into some bullshit. This hurts. Like, listen to this. Well, watch his face.
Lower prices. How about we'll do you and then you? Go ahead.
Follow-up question for the Italian TV, Daniele Compatangelo, LA7, TV 2000, Primetime Media. So congratulations for the deal. We'll see a big revenues from the chart. But what's the rest of Europe? It's a victory day, but other European countries, it seems like they're losing the train.
We intend to make a deal with Europe. We have found that the European Union treated us extremely unfairly.
I heard Europe. I heard the word Europe, so I'm going to go with Europe. I'll just talk about Europe was mean to us.
Difficult, and hurt themselves in doing so. And they very much want to make a deal. We'll be dealing with them. We are dealing with them currently, so that'll cover pretty much the rest of it. But this was separate because of
the rest of what?
In particular, this was a separate.
Yeah, Brexit. They're not part of the European Union. We know that. That's why there would be it. Yes, we're aware of that part.
Deal. It always seems so natural. I mean, all the media would say that this seemed to be like, why did this happen 25 years? Why didn't it happen?
Why is it happening now? Why is it even necessary? Why are you even talking about it? Why is it a big deal? Why there's not been this? Oh my God, England is stealing our factories.
A long time ago.
We need to bring all the jobs back from England, said no one ever.
And it was always amazing to me. Somebody would say, hey, we got...
Damn England with their low wages and their no healthcare system and impoverished citizens and poor education system that they can undercut what we try to raise as the value of American workers, damn it.
Make a deal, we have to make a deal. But this deal just fell into place. The Prime Minister did a fantastic job.
You mean it was already in place and you're just going back to what was there?
His representatives are total professionals and they got along well and it just seemed to work. And I think one of the reasons it did is because we blew up the whole system. If we would have just been dealing with you separately or, country by country, we blew up the whole system. It was very fair to very unfair to the United States. And I think because of that, this worked out so nicely. And I'm honored.
Yeah, finally. Fuck the whole China deal and whether or not we get a deal with India or Mexico or any place we actually get a lot of goods from these days. The important thing is that the country where we get Rolls-Royces from, we got a nice carve out for them.
It was the first year.
Gold bullion.
Please.
Sir, you mentioned...
Well, why don't you go in the back, yes?
Oh, thank you, sir. I'm with the London...
Yeah, men first. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks. I would say this is a great day for James Bond because now Aston Martins will be available to American buyers. But it will be even better by extending it to film. You've talked about a big tariff on films, and we'd like to know if there'd be relief on British...
Well, we're going to have a discussion on that separately. And as you know, we're putting tariffs on that particular film, you said.
Film? Jesus Christ, hold on. It's going to drive me crazy. 1 second. He's done this before. Hold on. There we go. Hold on. Let's see. I'm not going to be able to find it. I was watching this film. Yeah, it's gonna. If you want to see the greatest use of the word film, please check out Jiminy Glick and Lala Wood, which was filming in Toronto when I was doing Queer as Folk, and so I was at a party where they were filming a segment for the Toronto Film Festival. and it is, to be completely frank, it is where I flirted rather mercilessly with Janine Garofalo, who I, will confess to having a very Gen X crush on. So, yeah. And I was on Martin's TV show around that time. That was fun. Okay, his talk show.
The movie makers, and we're going to be doing some tariffs to get them, because a lot of them have left this country. They all live here. The money comes from here. Everything comes from here, but they make them in other countries. So we're going to do something.
Yeah, because they take place in those countries.
Bring them back.
Why can't we shoot all these big old Mission Impossible spy movies in Kansas City? Why ain't we doing that? Huh? How come they don't do Fast and Furious in Billings, Montana, man? We can tear it up out here, motherfucker. Come on. Why don't we just make it with Theo Vaughn instead of that big feller with the weird voice, okay?
Maybe to a large extent, but James Bond has nothing to worry about that, I can tell you. James Bond. And Sean Connery was a friend of mine. Sean Connery was responsible for my getting zoning in Aberdeen. He said, let the bloody bloke build his golf courses. And, I was like 4 years into the process, and it was impossible in Aberdeen. And he just stood up one day and he said that. As soon as he said that, I got the approvals in about 2 minutes. So he was a great guy, Sean Connery, and great character.
Later in the year, are you going to Scotland and to the UK?
I will be, sure. It's great.
Well, he has to. He's got to bring the Secret Service and all those people to Aberdeen so that the money from just that trip from the American taxpayer will keep that property afloat for 2 years.
A lot of investment over there. We have Turnberry, Aberdeen. We have, as you know, in Doonbeg.
Does he have any properties that don't sound like dingleberries?
In Ireland, right on the ocean. They're all on the ocean. I only have interest if they're on the ocean, and we have good investments over there. Been beautiful. Yes.
Mr. President, if the talks go well this weekend between Secretary Bessent and Ambassador Greer with their Chinese counterparts, not preemptively, but if the talks go well, would you then consider lowering the tariff rate on China?
Well, it could be. I mean, we're going to see. Right now, you can't get any higher. It's at 145, so we know it's coming down. I think we're going to have a very good relationship. I always got along very well with President Xi.
That's not a good thing.
That relationship was greatly disturbed by COVID when COVID came in.
Yeah, no, but 1 million dead Americans. I mean, you get over it after a while.
But we get along very well now. I mean, the relationship with...
You do?
With a lot of people, a lot of countries when COVID came in. But I think we're going to have a very good relationship. I expect to have a very good relationship with China, Scott. I think it's a very friendly meeting. They look forward to doing it in an elegant way.
Yeah, they're going to go tell you to fuck yourself while holding their pinky in the air.
China, as you know, has a tremendous trade surplus with us, and we just can't have that. And but I think, I think it's going to be very good for both countries. I would like to see China opened. One of the big things here is, and nobody would know this, but the UK was largely closed. It was very much closed to trade. And
no, it was not.
It's opened, and a lot of the financial reporters are very happy about that, because so much I listened to them. Well, I hope they get countries opened up, and then you compete on a fair basis. But you can't compete when you're not allowed to go there. China would be the #1 example of that. It's very closed. We almost had it last time before COVID, and that didn't work out.
What also? If the complaint is that they steal all of our technology, why would you want to sell into that country anyways? It's like selling into North Korea. Like, if they're just going to steal it, why would you even send them a prototype of something, much less a finished product?
But we made a great...
Yeah, Sean Connery was not English. He's Scottish, but his golf courses are in Scotland. That's what he was talking about.
China, they had to buy $50 billion worth of our food products, and it was a great deal, doing very...
They didn't.
For our farmers, and then when...
No, it wasn't.
Came in, as usual, nothing happened. He didn't enforce it, and it got less, and ultimately, it destroyed a great deal. That was a great deal. But no, I think...
No, it wasn't. China imports 80% of their food. and energy. They need way more than that. You shouldn't even have to talk them into that much.
I think we're gonna have a good weekend with China. I think they have a lot to gain. I do think they have far more to gain than we do in a sense, but we're gonna have I think we're gonna have a very good weekend.
Will you speak to Xi after the weekend talks?
I might, yeah, sure, depending on what Scott says. We Scott is doing certain countries and Howard's doing certain countries. I mean, I wish I had like 10 more of each. Then we could do them all at one time. But there will be a time we'll do a number of them.
And we have an entire trade group. He does realize that, right? You can give them marching orders and start on all this shit, and all right.
There'll be a time, I think I can say this, Scott and Howard, where we're just going to say, because we understand the countries, we understand what they want, where we're just going to make the deal. In other words, we don't need the country involvement because we've already had it. And we'll say this particular country, which had big surpluses, let's say, we had therefore deficits, that this particular country is going to pay a 25% tariff or a 30% or a 50% or 10%.
They're not paying it. What he means is American companies or American consumers will pay a 20 or 35 or 50% tariff on whatever they're buying from this country if he can't strike a deal with them. So if your business is predicated on goods from that country that you repurpose, you take a $10 shoe and you sell it for $100 because you get it from this place, then you're fucked.
Whatever it may be. I think we should explain it now, Howard. One of the things we did here that we'll rarely do is on cars, we took it from 25 to 10 on Rolls-Royce because Rolls-Royce is not going to be built here. I wouldn't even ask them to do that. It's a very special car, and it's a very limited number too. It's not, one of the monster car companies that makes millions of cars. They make a very small number of cars that are super luxury, and that includes Bentley and Jaguar.
Right. So consumers who buy normal cars, fuck you. You pay a 25% tax until such time as they move the factory here, which will take years. But if you're the kind of person who buys a Rolls-Royce, 10%, and you can write it off.
So we have some very special cars. So in order to help that industry, and that's really, handmade stuff. And they've been doing it for a long time in the same location. And I said, yeah, that would be good. Let's help them out with that one. But that's different than a car company that comes out and makes millions of cars, which they'll be doing in our country. They're going to build. We have many factories, car plants being built or going to be built very soon.
Yeah, more like going to be built very soon. 2 weeks from now, after his health care plan comes out.
I think we can say that we'll be close to $10 trillion of investment. I think we're actually at that number now.
Nope. If you double what you've said, which isn't even true.
Add up some of the ones we haven't heard about yet.
Yes, that's true. If you add up ones you haven't heard about yet.
They have some going up right now. They have plants going up, and they haven't even spoken to us. They're doing it because of the tariffs.
No, they're not. This is just a fantasy. Again, everybody would know this. This wouldn't be something they have to tell the president about. The news would be reporting on these factories, and you wouldn't have to go, oh shit, really? They're building a giant factory in this area?
Tariffs have always been used against us, and I never understood. I used to sit back. As you know, China paid hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs when I was president, but until then...
No, they didn't.
China never paid anything, and, they really did a big number on us.
Obama put a 25% tariff on Chinese steel. We've done it multiple times. There are industry-specific tariffs on in China that have been around forever.
Standpoint of trade, but we are using tariffs now for our benefit, and we have now close to $10 trillion. Think of that, 10 trillion. If you look at the past administration, and we're talking about over, essentially 2 months, because we could say 3, but it took a little while to get the office in perfect shape, right? It took a little.
By the way, this is all bullshit. He's stacking numbers. And in the case of Apple, for example, they're talking about an investment that they make on the regular that they had already planned. Most of the stuff from TSMC and from Intel were about plants that were being built because of the CHIPS Act.
To get things done. But once we started, when you think of that, close to $10 trillion of investment, you've had years where the United States wouldn't do that wouldn't do 1 trillion in a year, wouldn't do anywhere near 1 trillion. We did 10 trillion in
gibberish.
So it's amazing what's happening. We're getting calls from, and that has to do with chips, has to do with cars. We used to make chips. We had Intel, and we used to make chips. We had a monopoly on chips. Everything was made here. And now, over a period of years, because of presidents that didn't know what they were doing, they allowed that business to be stolen from us. Most of it moved to Taiwan.
You do realize that we don't have nationalized computer tech firms and that they can do whatever the fuck they want, and that legally they're allowed to make them wherever they can make them the best.
And you probably were in the same position, right? Because you had a lot.
There's just government subsidy.
Chip making capacity, but they moved it in. And if we would have said, that's fine, if you want to move it to Taiwan, that's good. But if you...
They didn't move it to Taiwan. Taiwan started making them really well, and everybody went there.
To sell back into the United States, we're going to put a 50% or 100% tariff on. They would have never left. But we had people sitting here that didn't understand that, and it's too bad. But now they're coming back because I'm saying it about 40 years too late. But they're coming back. As you know, we have the biggest chip makers in the world spending, in one case, $300 billion, in one case, $500 billion.
Which overlap and become $200 billion?
Same as Apple. And in another case, $200 billion. And we're going to have a large...
Which, if you add those up, $11 trillion.
A very, very substantial share of the chip-making market.
You said that this weekend is going to be a friendly visit, but do you expect that it will just be a formality to break the ice, or are they going to get into substantive negotiations?
I believe so, yes. I believe it's substantive, yes. I think people like to say, yes, we're having a meeting to meet. Well, we're meeting, so what are we going to do? Talk about meeting again? I think it's going to be substantive. I think we can say that, right, Scott? Very substantive. Now, China wants to do something. And look, they have to at this point. You know, essentially, they made $1 trillion a year, and now they have absolutely, no business because of the tariffs. They have no business. And they want to have business, and we want them to have business. We want them to do well. We want them to do very well. So I think it's going to...
Do we, though? I mean, look, I guess as much as any other country, but as far as depending on if India and Pakistan blow each other out of the fucking, I guess I was about to say water, but off the face of the earth, wouldn't you just want to craft a situation where the majority of those things are made at a reasonable price, but without forced labor in another country? Like, why? The only way they're going to succeed is to continue to use like Uyghur forced labor and the like, or automated factories. In which case, why wouldn't you just have the automated factories over here, making whoever owns the factory rich as opposed to someplace over there? Like, this is dumb.
Substantive.
Because business has slowed down, as you mentioned.
In China.
But we're seeing as a result, the ports here in the U.S., the traffic has really slowed, and now thousands of dock workers and truck drivers are worried about their jobs.
Yeah, no, that means we lose less money. When I see that means we lose less money. Look, China.
Well, again, what the fuck are you talking about? We're buying stuff from there. How are we losing money in this situation?
It's making over $1 trillion, 1.1 trillion, in my opinion. Different numbers from 500 billion to $1 trillion or $1 trillion. I think it was 1.1 trillion. And frankly, if we didn't do business, we would have been better off. Okay, you understand that. So when you say...
Sorry, if we didn't do business, we'd be better off. Hey, awesome.
Down, that's a good thing, not a bad thing. But we're going to make it so they can, I'd like to say they can do better, actually, in terms of the bottom line. We'd like to see China opened up so we can compete in China and, give people something that they've never had, access to something. That'd be great for the world. It would be great for our businesses. And I think it would be great for friendship.
They don't have the consumer base for it. They're running out of young people. They barely have enough people to buy the front end stuff, like consumer goods that they make themselves, even at the lower cost that they make them. They certainly can't afford the shit we would sell to them, especially stuff if it was made in the United States at the wage level that it has to be made here. They'd never be able to fucking afford it. A Toyota made in the United States and sold in China would be like 6 times the price of a car made there. And they can't afford the ones that are there.
Expect a lot of people think I'm a militant guy. I'm really not. I think that trade can bring
Nobody, by the way, nobody thinks this asshole is militant. Everybody knows he's transactional and it's about getting his own back scratched. He doesn't give a shit about workers.
Friendship with China can be something good. But, you know, one of the things that I know Scott's going to be talking about very high on the list is open up and let our businesses go into China, because when you talk about a closed country, that's a really closed country. And I think it would be great if it was opened up. It would give people a lot of choice and would create a lot of jobs, a lot of everything. So I think it would be a great thing for China. And that's going to be one of the things we'll be discussing, like we discussed with UK.
All right. China needs food and energy. They don't need anything else as far as consumer goods. They make everything there. They rip off everybody's stuff. Every country that makes stuff in China, they make another one and sell it locally. They make knockoffs of fucking everything. You can get an Apple iPhone or you can get an Apple iPhone. They have stores that look exactly like Apple stores that sell the knockoff iPhones legally and out in the open. They're not going to buy the real thing unless they're a fucking millionaire. And it's now become like a point of pride amongst the Chinese people that do have money to spend aren't going to buy American shit on purpose. It's effectively a boycott. It doesn't matter how much the government lets in, they're not going to fucking buy it.
Yeah, please.
So what does Britain have to do for you to drop the baseline 10% tariff that you're maintaining?
Well, I think that's set because that has to do with a lot of different things, including past. You know, there are a lot of past things that we talk. This is very inclusive. We included everything, and that's pretty well set. Yeah, please.
Yeah, Mr. President, the 10%.
Yeah, it's a 10% across the board tariff, except on the carve-outs, which are basically everything the UK sells that is meaningful. Anything they don't drop ship from someplace else, which we do anyways, so we never buy from them. Again, I would like to say, what does the 10% actually apply to? Because we're gonna, like, as much as he shut up the de minimis clause with China, I guarantee there's a de minimis clause or a variation of that in our relation to all European countries, that anything under $800 you get from Europe isn't going to be taxed at that level, isn't going to have a tariff attached to it. So it's basically, so he can beat his chest and say, I made them pay 10%, but it's not actually applied to anything.
Tariff remaining in place. Is that a template for these future trade deals? You say you're going to keep it here.
No.
Is it going to stay in every case?
No, that's a low number. They made a good deal. Some will be much higher because they have massive trade surpluses, and in many cases they didn't treat us right. One thing with UK, they had somewhat closed, not like a China.
Oh my God, they were a little bit closed, a lot of closed, not closed, maybe closed.
Example, but they always treated us with great respect. They treated us with great respect. The template of 10 is probably the lowest end, and
no, it isn't.
Therefore, they made that deal, but they we've had just a very
okay. Look, the baseline one with fucking England will be somewhere in the order of like 1.5 to 2% tariff on stuff across the board, by the 10% only applying to this much shit and a bunch of exemptions, basically flatlining the whole thing down to next to nothing. And that's going to be the deal. He's going to say we've got a 10% tariff on everybody, because as far as maggots are concerned, they're not going to fucking know. The only thing they're going to experience is shit for Walmart shelves are going to be fucking empty starting around July. Boy, it's going to be a fun 4th of July. And then from that point on, until this is somehow settled, if it will be at all. But that 10% that's everywhere else, they're going to go, he put 10% on fucking everybody. We're making so much money. And like, well, then why do we still have a deficit? I don't know. Maybe they're not paying it. Maybe they forgot to pay it. Maybe we got to get them to sell more stuff to us so that they can pay more tariffs so that we can pay off our debt or whatever that they want to tell themselves. But that 10% is going to be spread across all goods. There'll be like 80% of the shit will have exemptions on it entirely. 20% of it will have a marginal rate, and in his mind, it will add up. And then there'll be some things that are like 30% on something we don't want in the country at all. And that's going to equate to 10%. That's how it works. That's how all this shit's going to go.
Relationship with them. Like, I won't do that deal with cars. I mean, unless somebody shows me that there's another kind of a car that's comparable to a Rolls-Royce, then there aren't too many. This is a good
Maseratis, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, I don't know.
Commercial for Rolls-Royce, but they're going to order a lot of cars.
Mr. President, I wonder where the...
Yeah. They're going to sell like fucking hotcakes. Everybody's lining up to get a fucking Rolls-Royce over here.
Like to buy.
I mean, well, the last time this happened, I ended up...
I would be happy to suggest a discount, obviously a very modest discount. We have to protect our profit margins.
I've had many of them, actually. You know, the last time that happened, I ended up buying a Tesla. You know?
A Tesla.
Thank you. Mary Margaret Olahan with Daily Wire. I had a question about the UK deal today. I heard there was talk that part of the agreement would depend on whether the UK would respect free speech and freedom of religion.
Nope. You heard wrong, stupid. This has nothing to do with your bullshit talking point. Sorry, this is all about money for rich people. You're not included. Sit the fuck down.
I know the VP is really interested in that and talked about that earlier this year. Was there any assurances that you guys got on that front?
You want to handle that?
Yeah, that was not part of the conversation. Our conversation was an economic conversation.
Right.
From start to finish, closed by the president.
Yeah, so stuff it, you broke bitch. we don't have anything to do with that free speech. Shut up. Oh my God.
Yesterday, this was a business deal, open their markets, and also...
It has nothing to do with your little pet peeves about trans people, or shut up, you're ruining our money parade.
Protect their workers, grow our markets, and help our workers.
This was about business religion.
Yeah, well, that might be true.
You know, business is sort of a semi-religion, but not nearly as important. I don't want to get myself into Go ahead, in the back.
Mr. President, will you be asking China to help you close, the gap between Ukraine and Russia?
I think so, yeah. I think it's a natural thing to ask.
What do you expect?
Sure, I don't know.
Yeah, that'll work. I mean, hey, why would you even need to? I thought you could solve this shit in one phone call.
I think we're making good progress. The fighting is a little bit different than it was. I think if we weren't involved, Russia would be, going at it to maybe get the whole thing. And without our involvement, they'd be able to get it, because we supplied a lot of different things, foolishly. But we've been...
Sorry, it would have been foolish to not let them take the whole country?
Paid back by doing the rare earth deal that I talked about before. I think that, I think that we will be very much involved in trying to get that bloodbath. It's a bloodbath. It's a horrible situation. 5,000, it's really more than that.
Yeah, this number is not working, so I have to double it again.
But it's 5,000 soldiers on average a week, mostly soldiers, are being killed. Young, beautiful people. I mean, they're being killed. I see the satellite pictures coming back, body parts lying all over fields, heads and arms. It's so terrible. I've never seen.
Yeah, it's a war. It's a European war at that.
They like it, actually.
And by the way, if you've never seen anything like it, you've been president before. Bullshit. There's no fucking, well, maybe he's just ignoring all the fucking intel they get from Burkina Faso or the fucking Sudan war. Maybe he just doesn't fuck it. Those are black people killing themselves. I don't care about black body parts. Who gives a shit? Nonsense. Of course you've seen shit like that. We've all seen shit like that on, social media is bringing it far closer to home. And not since the Vietnam War have people had access to the horrors of war before.
If we can get that stopped, that will be a great accomplishment. And we're trying very hard, and I think we're close. And Mr. Witkoff is talking constantly back and forth. He's a real professional who's got a great relationship with both countries. And I think we have a good chance. And likewise, we're trying to work on Iran to get that solved without having to get into any bombing, as we say, big bombing. I don't want to do that. I want them to work a deal. I want them to be very successful.
President Edward Lawrence from Fox Business. Yes. On the non-market barriers, how did you get the UK to bend, and what was the 11th hour deal or ask?
Well, I think it was really just a part of the overall. I mean, they have so many things that are so good for them. It's going to be so good for the country, and that was sort of easy. It wasn't. We had non-market. I call it non-market or non-monetary trade barriers, and we had quite a few of them. Not nearly as bad as some countries. Some countries have, you know, they have virtually no tariff, but the rest of it is so brutal you can't do business with them, right? So it's a very important question, actually. No, I think the overall deal just worked out very well from their standpoint. They were willing to give that in order to get other things. And
give what?
You might want to speak to that, Mr. Ambassador.
Look, the point about the deal is that we will continue reducing tariffs and non-tariff barriers. This is a continuing.
We have not done any of that.
Picture. It's a movie. It's not a still picture here. It's a movie. Yeah. It continues, and we're both.
It goes from, you know, and right now we're at the opening credits, even though he thinks these are the closing credits. This is the opening credits, and there is a difference, Mr. President.
To freeing up trade between our countries. We're both committed to freeing up investment between our countries.
Of course we are.
The point about this deal is that it provides a very good template.
Of course.
Good launch pad for what we can continue to do and build on in the future.
Launch pad. How like a sealed deal to me.
And that's what we're both determined to do.
You know, many of the we'll keep it confidential. How about just one more little thing, right? It got the deal closed, and it was handled very well from the other side too. But many of these things that we're talking about, we've been talking about this for 25 years. It's hard to explain when.
Yes, because nobody that doesn't buy Rolls-Royces gives a shit about the back and forth trade between the U.S. and the U.K. on that level. Like, this has never been a pissing contest.
If you weren't sitting behind this beautiful Resolute desk, you just wouldn't get it. I have been hearing about making a deal with UK for 25 years.
Gibberish.
And especially around the time of Brexit. They wanted to make a deal, so they came out of Brexit and they make a deal.
Because they had to. Honestly, Brexit is the reason why they have to make a unilateral deal, because they used to be part of the EU, so the EU deal was what they got. Now they have to make all their deals unilaterally. That's their problem.
Oh, natural.
We haven't been trying to make that just means we've been dealing with the fucking EU for 25 years then.
Nobody
was trying to get a separate deal with the UK when they couldn't make a separate deal because they were part of the EU.
Couldn't be done. It couldn't be done. Good people. And this is a bigger deal. This is a much bigger, better, stronger deal for both of us than we ever even contemplated before. It's a big deal.
I love how this guy's head shakes no while he's saying, yes, absolutely, great.
Everyone said that it would end in failure, it would end in tears, and it
hasn't even started yet. No dear.
Ended in exactly the opposite.
Yeah.
But it is exactly the opposite. It has started in tears. It has started in failure, which is the opposite of ending in fear and ending in tears.
Mr. President, can I say that is due to Secretary Lutnik and Ambassador Greer, who've been absolutely fantastic. But yesterday I received a call, a very diplomatic call that just edged things over the line, and that was from your new ambassador. in the United Kingdom.
Who is terrific.
Warren Stevens, he's here.
Where is Warren?
Right here.
Hello, Warren.
How are you? He's flying to London tomorrow night. He's going to be very popular with the British people. He's going to be a very successful ambassador.
Mr. President.
And?
Were you disappointed?
And he's got plenty of cash. That guy's plenty of cash.
Jesus Christ. Let's just make another. And he's one of my other billionaire, millionaire, dickhead friends. Venture capitalist, hedge entrepreneur, businessman with billions of dollars. Like everybody but Greer is rich. Greer might be rich too, but not on that scale.
We need some more big spenders.
Yeah, go ahead.
Are you planning to meet Ursula von der Leyen?
You're going to go ahead fast.
Yes, are you planning to meet Ursula von der Leyen, the president, or do you plan to cancel anytime soon?
Oh, she's so fantastic, right? She's so fantastic. I hope we're going to meet. Yeah, the answer is yes. I saw her a few days ago. And I think that we'll definitely meet, yeah. The European Union.
Are you going to meet Ursula von der Leyen?
Big thing, they want to make a deal very badly. You know, everybody wants to make a deal. Look, everybody wants to make a deal with the United States, and we're doing that, and we're going to make fair deals. I'm just honored that this was the first one. Go ahead, please.
This isn't the first one. It's not done.
Federal Reserve Chairman, Mr. President, says that you would have to call him for a meeting. Do you plan to meet with him? And what do you think about?
And it's like talking to a wall. He should be.
What do you think about not cutting? The Bank of England cut today.
Well, the Bank of England cut. China cut. Everybody's cutting but him.
Yeah, we're the reserve currency. Ours actually matters. China changes the value of their currency every day.
It's, I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's a shame. I call him Too Late, Too Late Powell. That's his nickname. And it's a shame. It's ridiculous. So, meeting, he's always too late. But
that's why I gave him the nickname. There you go. A nickname. Thank you, Noel. Yeah, we all do. Although I like the fact that Vance is just standing there like a dickhead this whole time. Like, I wonder if there's a single question for him.
It's not going to matter that much because our country is so strong. We're so powerful.
Thanks, Joe Biden.
In terms of economic strength and what.
Thanks, Joe Biden.
Done and I'll tell you what. If we didn't have our first term, you wouldn't be. We created things in the first term. We cut more regulations than any president in history. We
gibberish.
Taxes more than anybody in history.
Gibberish.
Very big factor is going to be the tax bill that we have right now, the one big beautiful bill, as we call it.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Which is all encompassing, the biggest tax cuts ever in history, bigger than.
How many pages in that bill? Huh? Do you think anybody's read this bill? Do you think you're going to hear that shit about the big beautiful bill? Anybody? Do you think we're going to hear them go, has anybody actually read this fucking thing all the way through? Nobody's had time to read this, and we're going to vote on this thing. This big, beautiful bill. It's like the biggest bill in history, $1 trillion for the military, and nobody's even read it. You think they're going to hear any of that shit? Yeah, I don't think so.
The first time, and the incentives, even great for the UK, because it'll make us so strong that we're going to be doing more business with you. It's a very important element for taxes, for every aspect, regulation cuts. That bill.
Like what? What regulations are you cutting? All that clean water and clean air shit?
I believe it's the biggest bill of its kind ever in the history of this country. And
so you're going to read the whole thing all the way through, obviously, before you sign it?
Johnson and Leader Thune have done an incredible job. I mean, I'll let you know we have to get a vote, but we have a lot of support for that bill.
Nope.
And if that happens on top of all of these trade deals that we're doing, this country will hit a point that you better go out and buy stock now. Let me tell you, this country will be like a rocket ship that goes straight up. This is going to be numbers.
Well, actually, you want a rocket ship to curve with the Earth as it's leaving the atmosphere. Otherwise, it'll its expenditure of fuel is too much of an expense for the propulsion that you're getting. So you want to bank on some of the aerodynamics of the rocket to conserve some of that. Otherwise, you run into the rocket fuel versus weight conundrum.
nobody's ever seen before. That's a very important element of all of this. You know, if we get that, if you don't, and the Democrats are fighting it only because they want to fight. They have Trump derangement syndrome. You know, if it was somebody else, they wouldn't fight. If you had a normal person, if you had some.
Sorry, no Democrat would vote for this if Mitt Romney put the same fucking thing through. Sorry.
Sitting behind you, they'd be fine. But they have Trump derangement syndrome. You know, Senator Schumer's become a Palestinian. Welcome. I don't know when they're going to.
Yeah, this shit again.
The ceremony, whatever the ceremony may be. It's terrible what's happened to the Democrats. So, very, very important element of everything, of what we're doing. Unrelated to today, but related in the sense that we'll do, if that passes, we'll do even.
Yeah, Loretta, he has no idea what's in that bill, and he never will.
More business.
He just wants to sign one big bill and take credit for signing a bill that big with $1 trillion for the military. That's all he's not going to, nobody's going to go through it. No.
With the UK. We'll have so much. It's the biggest tax cut in history. It's going to make our country.
No, it isn't. They're going to extend the tax cut. The one that's just come through is that they want to, they don't want to extend his entire tax cut. They want to extend just targeted aspects of it, which would be smaller than the one before. It would still be they would still raise taxes on rich people some. That's the idea. That's what they think they can pass, with some Democrats joining. Why is this not playing? What's going on? What's happened? Why did that work? Okay.
It's going to be incentive, as you know, with the deduction for, basically for work. You work, you build, you plant, etc. Your deduction.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's how it works, right?
It's going to be the biggest, it's the biggest bill of its kind ever passed. Maybe the biggest bill ever passed. That's why we call it the one big, beautiful bill.
What is in it? Since you know what it is, since you're saying it has a name and you know what it is, what's in it?
You just announced a new nominee for the U.S. Surgeon General who never finished her residency and is not a practicing physician. So can you explain why you picked her to be America's top doctor?
Because Bobby thought she was fantastic. She's she's a brilliant woman who went through Stanford, and as I understand it, she basically wanted to be an academic as opposed to a surgeon. I think she graduated first in her class at Stanford, and
then she became an anti-vaxxer weirdo, and now she lost her license to practice medicine in Oregon or whatever.
Bobby really thought she was great. I don't know her. I listened to the recommendation of Bobby. I met her yesterday and once before. She's
that's fine then. It's just the Surgeon General.
Outstanding person, a great academic actually. So I think she'll be great.
Your nominee for U.S. Attorney of D.C. Do you have a backup plan if this Senate does not?
But he's a terrific person, and he wasn't getting the support from people that I thought. You know, he's done a very good job. Crime is down 25% in D.C. During his period of time.
You mean during Biden's administration?
Disappointed in that, but I have so many different things that I'm doing now with the trade. You know, I'm one person. I can only I can only lift that little phone so many times in a day. But we have somebody else that will be great.
Yeah, that's why you would delegate to staff to go find you people, because you got all these people, right? You got tons of people. Where are they? Where's this deep bench we keep hearing about? All the best people. Hashtag the best people. Why are there like 5 people in your cabinet doing multiple jobs?
I just want to say Ed is unbelievable, and hopefully we can bring him into whether it's DOJ or whatever in some capacity, because really outstanding. It was
someplace where he doesn't have to pass Senate confirmation.
To me, it was disappointing. I'll be honest. I have to be straight. I was disappointed. A lot of people were disappointed, but that's the way it works sometimes. You know, that's the way it works. And he wasn't rejected, but we felt it would be hard.
He would have been rejected, so you had to pull him.
And we have somebody else that we'll be announcing over the next 2 days who's going to be great.
Yeah, they're fabulous. They're awesome. I mean, in many ways, I don't even know why I didn't ask them first. You know, they're a friend of my pretty girlfriend who lives in Canada who's totally real.
With companies like Ford and Mattel recently saying they're going to raise prices on certain products, how long do you think the American public is going to be patient and wait for you?
Well, I think they're saying that just to try and negotiate deals with me. They're not. Look, tariffs are the most misunderstood thing maybe in any form of business, anywhere in business. Oftentimes the country picks them up. Oftentimes the company picks it up. The people don't pick it up. Okay, the people don't pick it up. And if Ford did that, they wouldn't sell any cars. And if Mattel, I don't know, I'm not so sure. They also said they're the only country I've heard. They said, well, we're going to go counter. We're going to try going someplace else. That's okay. Let him go, and we'll put 100% tariff on his toys, and he won't sell one toy in the United States, and that's their biggest market. I heard that. I mean, I watched this guy talking about how I'm going to go counter. I said, well, I wouldn't want to have him as an executive too long. The Ford people I know very well. What they're doing is negotiating with us by saying that. But we don't think that's going to happen. Look, I put out a truth today, and it said that gas is down, gasoline is down, energy is down, groceries are down,
eggs and groceries are not down.
I mean, eggs, thank you very much, but eggs are down. When I came in the first week, you guys hit me with eggs. I said, what the hell happened with eggs? Eggs were up like 170% and going up, and they said don't order any for Easter. And we were thinking about ordering plastic.
Yeah, they didn't say that.
Eggs like everybody was doing. And Brooke did a fantastic job, agriculture. Brooke did a fantastic job. And we had hundreds of thousands of eggs out here on the lawn.
No, you didn't.
2 weeks ago at Easter.
Hundreds of thousands of eggs. Did you? Would you have an egg stomping contest? What the fuck are you talking about?
But you take a look at the cost. Energy's down. Even interest rates are down. Now, if...
No, they're not.
The chairman of the Fed, Jerome, if he would lower interest rates like China did, like I think UK did, but like numerous other countries have done, it's like jet fuel.
Yeah, but their economy's different than ours, and their currencies are not the currency of world trade. It matters more.
Great, but he doesn't want to do it. I think he doesn't want to do it. Probably he's not in love with me. I think that's right. It's sort of a crazy reason, but that's the way life is. Anybody in his position would be like jet fuel. But even without that, we're doing well. But remember this, I've watched you people reporting over the last few months that if we do this, prices are going to go through. Well, groceries are down. All of this stuff is down. Lumber is down. Oil is gone to, we have that thing broke 60, right? $60 a barrel. And $1.98, $1.99 in some cases. And heading in that direction. Now,
again, just bullshit. Just straight up bullshit. Do I have this? Let me see this. Meanwhile, while everybody's like the price of groceries are going down, Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend got Botox on Sunday in America on Real America's Voice. This is how well things are going. If you're looking for a distraction, this asshole literally got, and he was like bitching the whole time, like ow, this really hurts. He literally got like his eyelids done with Botox, which, by the way, this is not the first time he's done it. So they made it a TV segment so he didn't have to pay for it. But they all go get this done. Fuck, it's creepy. Jesus Christ. Why? But pay $700 to $1,500 to get botulism injected into your forehead while Americans are, I guess, I don't know, leveraging the house to buy a Rolls-Royce because it'll be cheaper than a Toyota. What, hold on. Did I lose audio on this guy? What happened? Are you guys hearing it, but I'm not? Oh, yeah, look at that. It looks like my headphones are being a dick all of a sudden. I don't know why that would be. I think it's because I'm over time and I've run out of battery time and you guys are tired of this asshole anyways. So I'm going to end up having to move some of the stuff to the morning the audio wouldn't play through for some reason. I don't know what that is, and I kind of don't care because like it's not gonna like he's gonna say anything more. But we got through most of it. The rest of it's just kind of like thank you very much, and then they piss off. So it wasn't just me. Okay, the audio just was being weird, huh? Because I saw it playing, but it wasn't going through somehow. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Rob Glenn will be joining me for in the morning, and I don't know. Do we have a second guest tomorrow? Andrea, besides Rob for Friday Eye, because God knows we're gonna have a bunch of stuff, and I think we're looking at maybe the China show guys on next Friday with us. I thought we had one other person. It's gonna take me a second to figure out who it is in the staff chat. Yeah, fuck, we got through it though. So yeah, it's the same old. Totally natural bee sting look. That's exactly right. Again, I have been accused myself of getting Botox at some point, just because I look fantastic for my age. But I would never, Botox makes no fucking sense to me as a comedian, especially, as a comedian, but as an actor, I'm enraged. It's just stupid. So, I went over. So I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you very much. I know there are other shows after me. I try not to step on them because people go and you're with me for 2 hours and I greatly appreciate it, but I don't want to step on the other voices that are out there. And so, except on special occasions, which I'm thinking about, by the way, and I pity the mods during this, but over the next month or so, I'm going to do a couple of I guess they'd be all day streams. I would do a morning show, but I'm going to go straight to the evening. Kind of how Cliff did his little, 12 hours straight or 24 hours straight thing that he was doing. I'm going to do something similar. Yeah, tell your face. I'm going to do something similar on that, but for a straight day, just for a long run or whatever, just to try to elbow Destiny and those guys off of the, and Hassan, push them aside. I still have to deal with that Hassan footage. I'll bring up a piece of that tomorrow in the afternoon because we got to look into this because it's driving me crazy. So maybe that'll be a part of our, China Friday aspect of it. But I will see you guys in the morning. Take care of yourselves and take care of somebody else. I'm going to hope everything is playing normally. I see audio going now. We should be all right. Yes. Let's see if my thing plays again. I'll put my headphones back in and see if it... Yeah, they woke up. Okay, good. And I will see you guys tomorrow.
How name of Zeus's butthole did you get out of yourself?
Sorry, I'm a grown-up. Hit that like, everybody. Annoy the maggot in your life. If you're on Facebook, give me an angry emoji on your way out the door. If you're on Twitch, subscribe for God's sake. All right, love you guys. See you tomorrow. Roll credits. All right, there it is. Okay, it worked. Damn. By the way, I don't want you guys to think I'm yelling at staff or something. I roll the credits. I was yelling at myself. I run all the shit. I'm running all the buttons and everything. So, if it's anyone's fault, it's mine. God damn it. Thanks, Andrea. Thank you guys for the memberships today. Like whoever gifted all the memberships, bless you for that. That was really lovely. And thanks for everybody for taking them up on it. I will have a show for you guys at the end of the month. So members and Patreons will get to be able to will be able to watch the live stand-up show. Private stand-up show, the naughty. Only Hal's. The next show will be called Comedy is Never Clean. Good night.